What's going on, people? Myke C-Town here with our Dead End Hip Hop solo album review, and today I'm talking about the newest album from Death Grips entitled Year of the Snitch. So for those of you that don't know, Death Grips is an experimental rap group from Sacramento, California. It's been putting out records for about 7 years now. They came on the scene with ex-military and totally confused and excited huge groups of people, and ever since then they've made a significant impact on the hip-hop and the music scene in general that even if you don't like them, it's undeniable. This is their 9th album, I believe, and I wasn't quite sure what to expect from it. The powers that be for me kind of signified a change in sound for them, something a bit more electronic, but I liked where they were taking that idea. And then with Bottomless Pit, they infused more of the harder guitar sounds, and at the time I thought it was just okay, but I actually grew to love that album much more later on. Then they dropped Steroids, which was nothing at all like Bottomless Pit, and even though I never reviewed it, I actually thought Steroids was fantastic. It really grew on me. Really abrasive, grinding electro, something I wish they'd drop a physical version of. So walking into this album, I wasn't really sure what route they were going to go in. I think the first single that I heard was Streaky, and honestly, I didn't love it. As long as I've been listening to Death Grips, it's the more intense and loud and angsty tracks that I've loved the most. And this one seemed a bit pulled back for me. I don't remember what the next Death Grips single that I heard was, but I remember not loving that one either. So I wasn't super excited walking into this album, but upon listening to it, I think it's one of those situations similar to Kendrick Lamar singles. You know, I'm never really excited about them, but once the album comes out and I listen to them in the context of the album, they make a lot more sense. The album starts off with Death Grips is Online, a term made popular by a tweet that they sent out last year, but this song is another complete shift in sound for these guys. The first thing I noticed is it's actually, to me, a bit more hip-hop oriented than a lot of their other music. There's, of course, the frantic Zach Hill drumming and Flatlander's insane musical backdrops, but this one features an almost subdued sounding vocal performance from MC Ride and even some scratching, which comes together really well. And I do love to try to figure out what Ride's lyrics refer to, but this time I have absolutely no fucking idea. Pretty 9, pity motherfucker. Pretty 9 in your city, motherfucker. No laws here, airsoft start popping off. That flat get quit, snitches wear. Pretty 9. No idea. Flies is the next track, and this is actually one of my favorite tracks on the album. The weird beat starts with these odd bells thrown in, and then it breaks into this claustrophobic beat with these swells, and there's just so many layers going on at the same time, but it sounds incredible. And as far as the theme of the song, it's Ride talking about Flies vomiting him out. Should the opportunity arise, vomit me, flies vomit me, together's unwise, sever all ties. Should the opportunity arise, vomit me, flies vomit me, vomit green eyes. Now I know that some flies puke this acid onto their food in order for them to eat it because they don't have teeth to chew. So with this, I'm not sure if he's saying that the flies vomit him because he's this filth of the world or whatever, or if this is Ride saying that he wants to be the dead body that the flies have ingested and puked up later on. Who knows? I don't want to go in order, but the next song, Black Paint, is probably my favorite song on the album, hands down. It comes in with these super distorted bass sounds that's reminiscent of another one of my favorite jams from Death Grips, which is System Blower. This distorted bass, the distorted guitars, and these hard-hitting drums that just sound fantastic together. And the theme of the song seems to be Ride's urge for darkness, and it seems to be an obvious homage to the Rolling Stones song Painted Black, and I kind of figured that from the title once the hook came in, but looking at the lyrics, it became even more obvious to me. The song comes in with the line, drop the curtain soaked in shadow, more shade, black paint. You know, this desire to embrace the darkness and create darkness even where it may not already exist, right? And then you have the opening lines of Painted Black, which are, I see a red door and I want it painted black. No colors anymore, I want them to turn black. So it's very similar. And then when you analyze how it said that Painted Black could refer to the red doors of the Episcopal churches in England, how the song could be a reference to the denial of Christianity. But then you have lines on this song where he says, "Those are my satanic urges right now." So is this an embrace of darkness in general? Is this a denial of God? Is it both? You know, tying these two songs together is really interesting for me. Then, of course, you realize how the cover of Year of the Snitch has these little mouths, which are very similar to the Rolling Stones mouth logo. But I'm not a Rolling Stones fan at all, but I'd be curious if anyone else picked up any other Rolling Stones references in the music here. I know the title of the album refers to Linda Kasabian, who was essentially a snitch, as she was a witness for the prosecution in the Charles Manson case, but is there some sort of connection between Kasabian or Manson and the Rolling Stones that I just don't know about? If there is and you know, make sure you drop a comment down there. Again, not trying to go in order, but I want to talk about the song Linda's in Custody, because one of the lines in it kind of goes back to what I was just talking about. Ride says, "If significant piece of me spill, little Pinot pouring out my gills, pass a carafe, perhaps I'll swill, my grief may leak but can't congeal." The religious references here are very interesting to me. Pinot pouring out the gills, the blood of Christ, which is represented by wine to a lot of folks. He mentions gills, which makes you think of fish. Fish being a representation of Jesus for many people. But the line about his grief leaking but not congealing jumped out to me. His grief and sadness leaking, but it won't stop. It won't solidify. You know, congealing makes the bleeding stop. His leaking cannot stop. So is he like Christ in this scenario? You know, giving himself for his followers. The blood of Christ forever represented by the wine that Christians lap up. The blood of Ride forever represented by these lyrics and this music that his fans lap up. It's really interesting to me to think about that. The next song that jumped out to me was definitely Shit Show. This is for a number of reasons. First one, I love the sound of it. The extremely hyper kind of cyberpunk sound with this song, it sounds incredible to me. The fast run-through vocal performance from Ride, the lightning fast and hard drums, the guitar sounds here, it's such a great song. And I think that this song is really important in the whole Death Grips persona in the same way that I thought I Seen Footage was. I Seen Footage gives a glimpse into why MC Ride may be fucked up, because he's seen so much fucked up stuff that it's impacted his perception of the world around him. The title Shit Show, of course, gives a reference to the song, sure, with this crazy mess of sounds that it is, but it also kind of refers to them as artists in general. You know, they're a shit show. The music being a chaotic mess that comes together beautifully. Their crazy story concerning how the label situation worked out, how they intentionally fucked it up. Their reputation for not showing up to live performances. Them just being these incredibly polarizing characters in the music industry. This whole thing is a beautiful shit show. And following Shit Show, Streaky fits in way better. It's almost a creepy and weird calm down from the blaring sounds of Shit Show. And I actually like the song a lot more listening to it with the whole album. But yeah, I could go on speaking at length about this album. I'm going to say I really enjoyed it. I think it'll end up in my top 10 of the year. I love that after all of the albums that they've done, all the sounds they've given us, all the ground they've covered, that they're still able to give us something new that fucks with our heads. Another really interesting thing though about this album is, I may sound crazy, but to me, I feel like it has more songs that would appeal to a general rap fan who isn't so much into the crazy experimental rap sounds. And I'm certainly not saying that this album is not weird. There's a wealth of wacko shit going on this album, but it seems like it has the most songs that may not totally scare a rap fan away. Maybe I'm crazy. If you guys disagree, definitely let me know. But I do feel like they pulled back on the creepy and terrifying factor that a lot of their songs have. Ride's lyrics are still dark, but I feel like sonically, they pulled back a little on the dark sound of their music, which is fine for me because this sound is something a bit different for them, but it still works. It's still unabashedly Death Grips. So that's it for this review. Let me know what you guys think. Did you like this album? Did you hate this album? Are you hella meh on this album? Did you pick up any references that I didn't pick up? Definitely drop some comments down there. And as usual, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you. And I'll see you guys next time. Alright? Peace out. Peace out, boy.